she's got a family history that, let's just say, leaves a little to be desired. A couple of nieces who have been in trouble with the law, big time trouble with the law. We got Letitia James, criminal kin, who have been charged 11 times in 5 years. But they keep on getting off easy. That's the headline according to the New York Post. And when you look at some of the stats, you're like, now why would that be? And why does she really have that kind of influence? Here's a couple of them. They're actually sisters, believe it or not. There's like at least a 20-year time span in between the two of them. Anyway, if you want to look at the whole kit and caboodle of the family, got a nice little graphic here, once again, courtesy of the New York Post. You got New York Attorney General Tishy baby, Aunt Tish, who's right at the tippy top, and she buys everybody houses. Allegedly, with very attractive mortgage rates, because she doesn't actually, allegedly, admit what the houses are going to be. So she's got one that went to Nakia Thompson, and then a bunch of the other grandnieces, good to have a auntie like Tish, huh? Live in the other house in Norfolk, Virginia. One is Shamise, did I say that right? Thompson. And then there's Kayla. Oh, they also go by that last name Hairston. And then there's one other in there. Anyway, they've done a deep dive on this, and it's really concerning because they've got quite a, as I said, criminal past. And I don't think that reflects necessarily that well on the AG. I also think there are serious questions about how they keep getting off. And that also does not reflect so well on the AG. In the case of one Kayla baby, apparently she was a juvenile, so they decided they could let her off the hook for the malicious wounding that she engaged in August. However, apparently she then tried to get a weapon at a later time, so that was a big deal and became another issue from a criminal perspective. They did manage to somehow drop these charges. The Norfolk Commonwealth attorney, a guy named Ramin Fatehi, a Democrat, said the prosecutors actually didn't know at the time who she was, but they later decided to drop the juvenile charges. They pleaded them down to a misdemeanor, and they did so because, they didn't want to somehow hurt her opportunity going forward. They said that the charges were fair to be dropped because they did not want to damage her and thus society for the rest of eternity. But one legal observer who spoke to the Post said, you know what, this is not normal. Like, this is just actually not normal. Most people don't actually get their charges dropped like that. So why would Letitia's grandniece get hers dropped? That's a curious question. Apparently they sought some clarification on this in the New York Post, and they didn't really get to first base. But one person said that, she did have a rather violent criminal history, and thus she shouldn't have had these things dropped. There's, quote, nothing I saw that explains why the prosecutor would not go forward with some sort of consequence for this behavior. This is according to Andrew Kersey, who's a former prosecutor in Fairfax County and who looked at all of these court documents. And he said prosecutors have a lot of power and they can be merciful, but they just don't drop charges like that. It's not like boom, presto, all of a sudden, you're off the hook. In June of last year, while still on bond, weeks after her gun bust, apparently Thompson Hairston was arrested for grand larceny after stealing around $1,600 worth of merchandise from a Walmart store in Norfolk, according to court documents. These are the allegations there. So again, this is really not good. I mean, if you're the Attorney General, I'm sorry. Now, what are you doing? Harboring criminals in your various homes that you get with allegedly overly deflated mortgage rates? It's a little weird. So I want to also mention that there's one more in here. Where do we go? Okay, so nothing explains why this would have happened. That's what they're saying. That, there's another one. Okay, so I knew there was one more. I'm getting them all confused. There's so many grandnieces. But one of them actually got in trouble because she was barred after somehow being ordered to pay $2,500 in restitution to Walmart and Sam's Club. So she was barred from these stores according to an arrest warrant that the Post reviewed. So what are these ladies doing living in her home, I wonder? She says, I'm being a good aunt. I'm being a good aunt. As for dropping the weapons charges, let's see if we can pull this back up here for you. The prosecutor said he was confident that they had the evidence to convict Ms. Hairston if they had it, they would have done so. So they're saying, well, we didn't really have the evidence. I don't know what's going on here, but I think it's all pretty darn bad. Here's another one. So this is Letitia Thompson. She's the older grandniece, 36 years old. She allegedly was busted for stealing nearly $2,000 worth of merchandise from Macy's and Dillard's in Chesapeake, Virginia. We hear about how shoplifting is becoming such a problem, and like so many stores like have to pull out of these places. And then you're like, oh wait, they're all Letitia's grandnieces that are involved in this extensive crime ring of some sort. Kayla's big sister, Letitia Thompson, 36 years old, has an extensive rap sheet of her own, they write. She's a fugitive of North Carolina because she failed to finish her probation. And so she took off her auntie's house where she's been hanging out after having stolen, as we said, $2,000 worth of merchandise from Macy's and Dillard's. Oh no, that's in addition to whatever she was doing in North Carolina. I can't keep up, okay? I can't keep up, nor should I have to. Nor should you have to. I think the moral of the story is she's got a bunch of grandnieces that she's taking care of that are out there shoplifting, allegedly, and now they're in all kinds of trouble with the law, and one of them happens to be a fugitive, and guess what? Letitia is giving her cover. Like, how can you do that? How can you have fugitives living in your home? Isn't that some kind of federal offense? Dun, you better believe it is. Take a look at this code, 18 U.S.C. 1071. The offense is whoever harbors or conceals any person for whom a federal arrest warrant has been issued, knowing that such arrest has been issued with the intent to prevent their discovery or arrest. So the question is, did Letitia know that the nieces were in trouble? Did she know that Letitia Thompson had been evading her probation officer in North Carolina and hiding out in Virginia? And if she did, I think that Letitia's got some problems of her own. I mean, hey, this is nothing next to the 60 years that she's going to face for the 2 houses and the alleged mortgage fraud. But you're talking about up to 5 years in federal prison and a fine. If the fugitive is wanted for a misdemeanor, I don't know how you classify these $2,000 worth of Dillard's merchandise, but that would make it a 1 year in prison and a fine. Whoa, I mean, gosh darn it. And we haven't even gotten to the fact, okay? Don't forget that she's out there getting special deals on her mortgages. Like lying on her mortgage applications, allegedly, saying that they are her primary home and in the other case, her secondary home. Whereas in other disclosures, she admitted that these were her income properties. So which is it? At least one of them was an income property. The other was just a mistake. Daily Caller, I love this. A few months ago, they went to Norfolk, Virginia, and they caught up with the ladies living in the houses. Watch.
Hi there. I'm a reporter with the Daily Caller News Foundation.
Goodbye, you're trespassing.
I'm sorry.
Trespassing. My kids are out here.
I understand. We mean no trouble. We're just curious who the occupants of the home are,
Don't
because
worry
there's
about who's occupants. That's none of your business.
well there are connections to New York Attorney General Letitia James.
That doesn't matter. You're trespassing.
Are you related to Letitia James?
Do you know her?
You're trespassing. Go in the house.
Do you know
You're
Letitia James?
trespassing.
No? Okay.
You're trespassing.
No comment. Thank you,
Don't
ma'am.
come up to my house no more.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a good one.
It's gonna be powerful.
You will.
All you want, don't trespass.
Be well.
There's a car parked in the driveway.
Hello there, ma'am.
This is the other place.
No comment? Okay, who lives here?
Who lives here, ma'am?
No comment.
Unbelievable. Okay, just really, really awful stuff. So she may be harboring a criminal. She certainly has some questions that need to be addressed in terms of the mortgages themselves. I mean, she's acting all calm. She's acting like, oh, this is all just fine now. Like I said, I suspect somebody got to her because, again, don't forget how unhinged she was just the other day. I'm going to show you like 5 seconds of it.
See, I know what it feels like to be attacked for just doing your job. But I also know what it feels like to overcome adversity. And so I stand on solid rock.
Not that solid. No, not that solid.
I will not bow.
Yeah, I will not bow, she said, reference to no kings. Anyway, the next morning, she kind of toned it down. What do you think of this?
I would say what she said. But first of all, the decision was based on the Administrative Procedure Act, an arbitrary and capricious act by this agency, an unlawful act. And so too is the indictment. It's baseless. It's nothing more than retribution. Retribution for basically doing my job. For doing my job following a 2-year investigation and a congressional hearing. It wasn't political. It was based on facts.
You were just doing your job? It wasn't political? Are you kidding me? Rocco Media, I know she picked up on that too. Just doing your job. By the way, she's got the same talking points over and over and over again. It's like she's got a script and she's committed it to memory, and she never like budges from that script ever. Don't forget, this is a woman. She said it was not political. I'm not going to bore you with the too male, too pale, too stale, whatever it was, montage that we've watched ad nauseum. But remember this, because it's important when you think about the context around all of this. They were trying to bankrupt him. They were trying to put him in prison. Letitia had her mandate. She was going to seize his assets. She wanted Trump Tower.
Donald Trump to pay $355 million for a decade of fraud. New York Attorney General Letitia James says she's prepared to do everything she can to make sure the former president pays his fine, including, she told us, seizing the buildings that bear his name.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
Well, Tishy, I gotta ask about this one. The second home rider for that second house, the one that you were calling in other documentation a financial income property. You actually said in this second home rider that it was a second home. It's like your vacation home, right? So the first one you called your primary residence. Oh, just a typo. But what are you going to do on this one? Because I got the document right here. And it says that you're going to use it yourself, that it's not going to turn into a rental thing. So that's kind of peculiar. You know what else is kind of peculiar? Oh, we can go right back to 1983. Take a look at this one. Woohoo! Robert James and Letitia James, his wife. She was his daughter. She was trying to get her dad a mortgage. And so she went on as his wife. And that's the document from 1983. I mean, it seems to me to suggest a pattern of lies. And, I know you're not responsible for your family, but clearly the family thinks that they can just kind of take whatever they're entitled to. Walmart, Macy's, Dillard's. I like your stuff. What can I say, right? I mean, it's very, very bizarre. And then you go back to 1983 and she's putting herself on a mortgage as her dad's wife. And then she's got the primary residence, and then she's got the secondary residence. I'm telling you, and allegedly harboring a fugitive. This is a mess. This is a mess. So, okay, Tish, you can come up with your ICE, new app, which, by the way, Apple had to take down. Google had to take down, don't forget, because that was endangering the lives of ICE agents. But you're going to find yourself in a whole bunch more trouble, as you should.